All right, fans, back with us again today. He is a three-time 90-minute spring shootout winner and has more badass wins in 2021 than Eddie Van Meter. It's the driver of the Shuffett Napa Royal Purple 3T machine. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Mark Tunney.
Going on, everybody?
How's it going, my man?
No, it's going, bud. Just ready to get
welcome
racing.
back. Yeah. You ready for this big race this weekend going down at the Indianapolis Speedrome? It will be the 90-minute spring shootout. I'm pumped. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like a mini 3 hour, I guess, that we've been running this race and stuff. And the rules are real similar to the same. We're on the bigger, faster tire. Prestige, obviously, because of the big payday and stuff like that. And I mean, you kind of it's a young race, but it's really kind of made a mark in history and stuff to where it's big time to win this race.
Absolutely, I can agree with you. And talking a little history about it, Mark, obviously, as I spoke, you've won this thing now 3 times. Obviously, going back to 2019, probably the most craziest last 10 minutes ever. What do you think about this race? Does it really get you prepared for the 3 hour, or is this just another big race that you want to go out and win like everyone else?
No, it's I don't know. I think it's kind of the same for me as it is for most everybody else too. They look at this one and they think, okay, this is about what I'm going to be looking like come 3 hour time. Because like I said, the rules are so similar. The format of it, with the cautions and everything, it's got a big time 3 hour feel to it. Because pit stops can come into play. I mean, we're okay on fuel. We can make it on fuel for this race, but it is a soft tire, and some guys can use up their tires. Some guys can play strategy and try to, get a pit stop and just make it to where they're that much better in the last 20 minutes of the race or so. So a lot goes into this race, just like it would the 3 hour. Obviously, it's not as much hype because the 3 hours been around for so long, and just anybody with figure eight racing knows the 3 hour. But this one is just one of those ones where I think you just got to put it on your list, and you want to do it and you want to accomplish it.
Agreed. Now let me ask you this: Do you prefer the timed races versus the lap count races, or does it matter to you?
I don't know. It's got a different feel to it when it comes to a timed race. I really do like big races, long races and stuff. So the 1 hour obviously is a timed race. Usually we run around like 200 laps in that race. So another race that's kind of equivalent as far as laps or closest to laps would be the Jake's 150. It's 150 laps, and I don't know. I really like those races. They whether it's timed or it's a lot of laps, it gives so much time in the race for the race to kind of evolve and change. I mean, your 5th place fastest guy at the beginning, the first 50 laps, I mean, he might be destroying everybody the last 50 laps or the last 10 minutes of a race and stuff. And I don't know, I've always liked that, to where you kind of just see, I mean, don't get me wrong, a 50 lapper is exciting because everybody's go, go, go. But I really like the longer ones. They can change throughout the race. And like we talk about 2019 90-minute race, and I think I led most of that race.
Yes, yeah, and you led most of the race.
Eddie ended up getting a caution early in the race, not early in the race, but at a kind of a decent time in it, to where he gambled. He went and got fresher tires, and he was hauling it. He made up a lap and gun around and took the lead from me and stuff. And then my cousin Jesse was right there too. Yeah. So, at a certain point in the race, there was probably a lot of people thinking, Mark's got this in the bag. And up until, those last 10 minutes, actually, no, you just didn't know. I mean, I ended up getting the win, but man, it could have gone, 3 different ways. So that's the type of stuff I like. And to where things just, you don't know how it's going to play out. You just don't.
Right. Well, of course, last time we had Ben on with us, and we kind of talked a little bit about some things like that. And he did mention something that kind of brought attention to my eye, and that's he talked a lot about rhythm. Now, with a lapped race versus a timed race, you know, it seems like with a timed race, you got a little bit of time to get into that rhythm versus that lapped race. You know when it's over. You know where you need to be at a certain time. So it's kind of, you know, is it harder for you to get in rhythm in either one?
I would say the timed races is more difficult because, for example, let's just go to 3 hour, for example. I mean, a lot of people will say, all right, we're going to pit on this lap. Well, the timed race, I mean, you can pit on that lap, say, let's call it lap 250. Or there's other people that'll say, well, I need to go an hour and a half or more into the race to get halfway, and I'm going to pit. This past year or a couple years ago, it happens all the time where you get a lot of cautions early in the race, and the last 3 hour I won was this example that I mean, I could have been looking to, it was like an hour left to go before I pit. And that was just because my tires were good. I was okay on fuel still because there were so many cautions that knocked time off and stuff that, I mean, it just changes your game plan. I mean, you can go into the race with a game plan, but you almost have to kind of adapt to whatever's given to you as well. So you see guys with different strategies and stuff. So, I mean, that makes it more difficult. You know, you got to have a crew ready to go for those quick pit stops because it's an open pit. Laps are counting under caution. That is just a whole different animal compared to just our normal lap counted races.
Sure. Well, totally understand that. Like I said, I could see myself maybe being more of a lapped count guy. I don't know that time thing. I just feel like and I've seen it, obviously, the anxiety of everybody. It's go from the drop, because if you get behind, it's hard to catch back up. Even though I witnessed your cousin, Ben, you know, in 2018, he made a pit stop, got 4 new tires. Yeah, he was down 3 laps, but boy, he was probably the fastest car out there. From then on, it just, you know, unfortunately for him, the cautions didn't fall the way he needed to, you know.
And
so it's definitely a gamble, and I can definitely understand that going, you know, into a timed race. You know, do you pit, do you not? Obviously, you've proven it to us that you don't have to get tires, you can still be there, but obviously you're not going to be the fastest at the end.
Right. And you just got to kind of, like I said, you got to see what the race gives you. I mean, for me, what I would like to have it is, I like to have some cautions beginning of the race, kind of keep everybody. Obviously, don't want you get cautions for a reason, but don't want people to get tore up. But at the same time, kind of keeps everything a little bit more calm and stuff. And then at the end, I like, say, the last half hour to go green, we take those pit stop equation out of it and see who's got enough tire and enough car to last that, you know, hardcore last 30 minutes of that race. So that's how I'd like to see it play out. But, you know, you just never know. You got to have that other set of tires ready to go just in case, and have a pit stop, you know, in the back of your mind to be ready.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Mark, let's switch gears a little bit on them. You're listening to the E's and B's podcast. Right now, we got the current 3-time 90-minute spring shootout champion with us, Mark Tunney. And Mark, tell my fans out there, what is your go-to breakfast item?
Go-to breakfast item. It's kind of, you're going to be pretty bored with it. Typically, it's Frosted Flakes.
Awesome. Hey, there's nothing wrong with cereal.
Well, I mean, I usually most of my time I start work at 6 a.m. So I get up early enough to where I have just enough time to eat something. Now, if I'm going out to get something, I'm getting French toast. That is my go-to if I got time. And if I'm sitting down to eat somewhere, French toast. Doesn't matter where. Pancake house, it's French toast.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you have any special rituals for race day for breakfast?
Not for breakfast, I don't think. It seems like I got so much running through my mind that I kind of got to always tell myself, I got to make sure I get, you know, drinks for the cooler and stuff like that. So
Okay, well, staying on that kind of topic, let me just ask you this then.
Yeah.
Are you superstitious on races or race day?
You know what? I feel like I'm less superstitious now than what I was, say, 5-6 years ago. There was actually, it was a shirt that I had in my bag. I'll pack my bag with my racing stuff in it. And I usually put a dry shirt of some kind, whether it's another racing shirt or whatever. That way, after the race is all over, I get out of my suit and I can put a dry shirt on. And I had a shirt. I can't tell you where I got it. I might have got it from Christmas or something. And it's a cocky shirt, but I'm not cocky at all. But it was in my bag, and let's see, it said, sit down and learn from the master.
Okay.
So, okay. It was just it was a Nike shirt or something like that. And it was in my bag after I won the 3 hour in 2018. And I'm like, well, then I think I had it in my bag like a couple races later at the end of the year, and I won that race too. I'm like, man, this is awesome. Well, then there was the next year I put it in there, and then all once it wasn't working for me. I'm like, well, that ain't it. So I think my superstitions kind of have gone away a little bit, but at the same time, there's certain things that'll pop in my head that I'll be like, I'm gonna go ahead and wear these underwear, or I'm gonna, I'm gonna keep using these gloves. I actually did pull out last year an old pair of gloves that I had from a 3 hour win, and I got holes in them and everything. I was like, oh, maybe this will help me bring some luck or whatever. I didn't do it either, but so superstitious a little bit, not as crazy as some. I won't have a green on my car though.
No green. That's my next question.
No,
I know a lot of
nope,
people are against the green, so we'll chalk you
no,
down as no green. Now, are you
no
as
green.
superstitious as this? Nobody in your crew can have green on them, or is it just on the car?
I would. I don't think I would make it known before like a race. Hey, nobody wear green. But I feel like if somebody on my crew showed up and they were wearing a green shirt, I would. What are you doing?
Yes.
Are you gonna change that shirt or what? Something like that. So, yeah. Like I said, I'm not as superstitious as some, but I will admit that a lot of that does run through my head.
All right. Well, hey, hopping back into a little bit of racing talk, Mark, I got to ask you this. I know things have changed this year. You're not running, obviously, full-time for points there at the Speedrome, but I want to know what your thoughts are on the new tire rule there.
I am 100% for it, 120, 130, 150% for it. I think it's great. I've been against tire soaking for a lot of years and stuff, and some of the people that don't care for me too much is like, yeah, whatever, you were soaking, well, blah blah blah, when we weren't supposed to, but whatever, they can think what they want. At the same time, I can't stand it, and I've always complained about it. I hate it. I hate the process of it through the week. Feel like I'm always taking up too much time messing with tires versus working on the car. Hated it. I was always coming home smelling like a chemical lab, and always would make sure my daughter wasn't in the trailer or the garage when the stuff was around. I mean, it was awful. So this year when Kevin Garrigus and Speedrome rolled out their plan to do something about it, I was all for it, and a lot of guys were too. There's a couple that still want to soak and do all that stuff, but I think the majority is really happy with the direction they went.
Well, speaking as a fan from my side, I can say this. I think it's up the ante on the competition this year. Eddie has been dominant. We know that. He's also got lucky a couple of times. But in my opinion, when you tighten the group back up like that, it only helps us fans, and it only makes us want to come watch you more and more. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, I there's guys that'll say both sides of it, that the racing is better with soak, and there's guys that are saying the racing's better without it. I think it's better without it. Excuse me, without it, all across the board, because the little guy doesn't have to worry about having the right soak and spinning. I mean, even if the little guy's bolting new tires on every week, if he's trying to do that, with the top guys bolting new tires on, he's not getting beat by even more money on top of chemicals and process. I mean, you got tire turners and where the tire to sit there and rotate and stuff. It's terrible, man. There'd be so many weeks where I'd mess up, or we would do it outside in like a barn, and it would say rain, or the temperature would drop 10 degrees and kind of be raining and stuff. Well, then tires didn't cure the right way. So we show up Saturday and they're all kind of greasy and soggy and terrible. It makes you want to load up and go home. I mean, I want to be able to just bolt on my tires, measure them, and I go race. And I work on the car to get better, not tires. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I just got a couple more to ask you before we let you go. And of course, we're going to talk about what's going down, obviously, this weekend at the Speedrome, and hey, maybe even next weekend. But let me ask you this one. I got a fun one for you.
Okay.
If you had to name the name of a tag team for your cousins, what would it be?
A tag team, as in like
as in a professional wrestling tag team.
Like it. Okay. Well, actually way back in the day when their dad and my dad were racing when we were kids and stuff, they had on their cars at one point, and it looked like a stick of dynamite, and it said TNT, Tunny and Tunny. So obviously it was two, there's three of them and one of me now. So it would kind of I don't know. I tried to get that going with my dad when I got to racing and stuff, the TNT thing. And he was older and he didn't want to mess with it, but I don't know. I would say TNT with the dynamite and stuff. If there was two, two of them or whatever, I'd have to go with that.
That would work. Let me ask you this one. If you had to eat one thing for the rest of your life and only one thing, what would it be?
Probably Mexican food.
It's got to be one item. One item. One item only.
Man, you can't go wrong with a good steak.
All right,
it's got to be a good steak, though. I'm not talking just some cheap steak. If I'm going to eat it all the time and only that, it's going to be ribeye or something. Yeah.
All right. That's for sure. All right, folks. Like I said, going down this weekend at the Indianapolis Speedrome, it's the 90-minute spring shootout. And Mark, we know that things were kind of been messed up. We really haven't had this since 2019, in my opinion. And I want to know what you're most looking forward to, obviously starting tonight on Friday.
Just the hype, I guess. I mean, because we're rolling on the better end of this COVID thing. More people are able to get out. More people are able to see what we can do and stuff, unlike last year. And we didn't get to have this race last year. So, and it was just a big race, a big deal. A lot of people got hyped up for it. It's on low budget TV. You can rent the race, and no matter what part of the country you're in, and get great coverage of the race and stuff. So all that builds into hype. I mean, I'm all about hype. When I'm out on the track and we doing our pace laps, it's been a long time tradition that the drivers just waving to the fans going around. And you see, like from my point of view, I'm looking out and these fans are getting, amped up, ready to go. I mean, that pumps me up even more, when they're, pumping their fists and everything else. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that these type of big races like the 90-minute bring, compared to, your everyday show, or even a lot of other tracks. I mean, this is just a unique sport of what we do. And the 90-minute brings that much more fire to what we do. It's just awesome. I'm ready to go.
I absolutely can't agree more. I can't wait. It's going to be an amazing race. I got to know this though, Mark. If things work out well for you on Saturday, will we be seeing you the following weekend, maybe in Ohio?
I will be in Ohio. Yeah.
Awesome.
I've already committed Randy and his family that own that track up there. I think they bought it a couple of years ago, maybe. Been putting a lot of money into the track, about like what Kevin Garrigus has done for the Speedrome. That's awesome. Kind of revitalizing that that old racetrack and keeping it going and trying to build on the sport and stuff. I've been talking to Randy quite a bit, and I've committed. I mean, we've heaven forbid, knock on wood, there's some superstition for you, but hopefully nothing catastrophic happens. But if it does end up bad for us, we have another car and it needs probably 2 days worth of work and it's ready to go. So I'm committed to go to Ohio, barring, I mean, I'm 99% sure I'm going. It would take a really bad thing to happen for me to not go. We're pumped up about that too, to go to a new track, you know, put another figure eight track for us on the map. So
absolutely. There you have it, folks. If you can't get your fix this weekend, you can get it next weekend. As he says it, Mark Tunney will be racing at Painesville Raceway there in Ohio, as they're putting on a very special figure eight race going down June 4th next weekend. So make sure you guys check that out. But Mark, obviously, before I let you go, I want you to let my fans know where they can find you at this weekend, and give your sponsors a big plug for me, buddy.
Yep. Well, as you know, you're listening to the E's and B's podcast, and this is Mark Tunney, driver of the 3T Outlaw figure eight car out of Indianapolis, Indiana, Royal Purple, Sheffitz Automotive, Two Little B's, Auto Parts. We got the 90-minute this weekend. Do not miss it. Don't miss it. If you can't get there, rent that thing on TV. You're going to want to see this show. You're going to be mad if you didn't.
There you have it, folks. And before I let you go, Mark, I got one more thing I want to bring up. I noted this here in my notes this past week or two. There's been some really cool things going on, not only from yourself, but from some other fellow racers there on Facebook. And folks, if you have not seen it, what they've been doing is they've been putting their side skins from their cars up, you know, offering up the highest bidder, the best comment, whatever it takes. But all the proceeds are going towards Mark's aunt. It's a very, very good cause. It's definitely a true sign of what a racing family means and is. If you haven't had a chance, folks, make sure you guys go out and give Mark Tunney, Matt Smith, and of course, Ben, Austin, and Jesse Tunney some love. They definitely could use it. And until next time, Mark, I know you've been on the show this week, so we know the big W is coming. Everybody, until next time, it's the Marksman, Mark Tunney.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
You bet, buddy.
Thanks for having me.